Hard to argue with the weather currently here. It's shortly after 11 a.m. on this Sunday afternoon, September the 27th. There is certainly a dose of finality hanging in the air as we cap basically a very lengthy spring and summer season, but a great one here at Gulfstream Park. A beautiful day outside. Now, we did lose a trio of turf races, and as we bring in Ron Nicoletti and Jason Blewett and welcome all of you to this live getaway closing day edition of Gulfstream Park today, we'll have some surface reminders, if you will, throughout the show. But I'll tell you, Ronnie, it's been an unprecedented summer down here in Hallandale Beach, but do want to thank all the great fans out there for supporting the product, and we've got 12 races coming down the pipe today.
12 races coming down the pike. And as they say in the old store I used to shop in, everything must go today. So all payouts on the Rainbow Six, the Late Pick 5, and the Super High 5 a little later on. Of course, we're dying to see how big the pool gets in the Rainbow Six.
Now, we won't be racing here, just as a friendly reminder. I mean, we do have a lot of ground to cover, and I don't want to waste a lot of time here at the top of the show, but just, again, a little bit of housekeeping that is certainly relevant. There's no racing here on this circuit anyway, Monday through Friday. We'll kick the opening day festivities off at Gulfstream Park West this coming Saturday, October 3rd, and I was told this morning we're going to keep the regular noon post time, so no real time change in terms of a schedule moving over to Miami Gardens. And again, today everything's got to go. Rainbow Six pool that we are coming off a Saturday card, Ronnie, with a $1 million guarantee. Could it be $4 or $5 million today?
Yeah, I mean, basically the live money in there right now, it's about $800,000. So it's going to be up there. And, you got your chance to handicap one of those races in the Rainbow Six sequence. The first one, 7th race, was taken off the turf. Just remember that when you start handicapping.
Absolutely. 1, 5, 7 are off. We've got a trio of high-quality turf races positioned very late in the afternoon, basically capping more or less the Sunday card and the meet, as a matter of fact. But it all begins at about 12:05 Eastern, 55 minutes from now, give or take. And I'm going to take a little stab at this early pick 5 and a first race in which I'm not totally sold on the 12 Madam Moon, and I only use 2 here to start. I think the number 2, I Need the Tequila, has got that race. In fact, I don't think. That race back, 4 starts ago in the middle of May. Can she run back to it? That's the big question, but if she does, she'll be in the thick of things at crunch time, and I'm using the 10, Miranda Sophia, who seemed to perk up last time out. Her form as a whole has been pretty good relative to this field, but I like that recent race of hers going a mile on the turf, and maybe more distance is what she wants, and she gets that here in the Sunday opener. Further down the line, Uno Baby Bird is my numero uno horse, Ronnie. I mean, it does look like Uno Baby Bird for Kathy Ritbo is going to be a massive favorite, and I constructed this play for $18 just around his position coming out of a race where he ran just too good to lose, but he lost.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's the one to beat in there in race number 3. So a good single for you. I got that one on top of my ticket, too.
Yeah, he's going to be a big favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got 2 major odds-on favorites, most likely, in races 3 and 4 with that horse in the 4th. I think it's the number 2. Yeah, Fast Faction, or Fraction, that is, who's 4 to 5 on the morning line. Likely not looking at a favorite that short in this upcoming off-the-turf 1 mile, 3-and-up filly and mare, a lower-level maiden claimer. But as I was saying, I respect that effort, even if it looks a little fluky as time has gone on. 4 back now for the number 2, I Need the Tequila. The number 10 horse, Miranda Sophia, again, I like her overall form in a race like this. And although I rarely will reference a turf race in an off-the-turf event like this, I think she ran well last time out, stretching out in distance. Madam Moon is the horse to beat, yet those dirt races 3 and 4 back, they look okay. I wasn't blown away by them.
Yeah, I just went with her because she's dropping to the 12-5 level today, going back to the main after a couple of so-so turf outings on the turf, a performance on the dirt. I'm keying off on June 6th against those 25 claimers. I think is key in there. Miranda Sophia might get the perfect setup today when she goes back to the dirt, after following a second on the dirt versus 16 minutes with a duel for the lead third. That was going a 2-turn mile on the turf. I think it's a perfect setup. This race reverts back to a 1-turn mile on the dirt. I think it's a nice setup for her.
Yeah, when you say that, what do you mean with the setup? Is it the distance or
I
pace
think the last
situation?
Race, well, the 2 turns on the turf, I think will set her up nice for the 1-turn mile because that race on the dirt a couple back was at 6.5. So I think this is a good spot for her. just with the distance. I think she's got the ability to track, go to the lead. I think it sets her up perfect. It's just a, stretching out, turning back, stretching out again, type of situation.
No, I hope you're right. I think she's going to run very well here in the first race. Moving on to the second, we've got a filly mare 6250 claimer, and you do have a number of fairly consistent horses in this race. And maybe the biggest story, maybe it's twofold. It might be the presence of the 4 Brooks All Mine, who was really consistent in the handful of starts that we saw from her in 2020, basically from the middle portion of January up through the last portion of April, and she was claimed out of her last start 21 weeks ago. You've got a pretty sizable drop down in the 6 Flashing Diamond, who I evidently like a little more than you, but a good field here with a respectable amount of recent form. And why don't we hear why you like the 4 Brooks All Mine, who, if she can pick up where she left off here in the springtime, she's obviously just a major, major factor.
Well, she was very popular in the claim box, too. She was claimed in 4 consecutive races. Before that layup, returns for new trainer Jose D'Angelo in an ideal spot to continue her consistent 2020 campaign. 5 starts, 2 wins, 3 seconds. I want to show you a stat on Jose D'Angelo. First after the claim, all levels on the dirt. Over the past year, he's 5 for 19, 26%, 63% the money. 140 is the return of investment. Just like this horse's performance before the layup, going to a barn that does well with first off the claim. You're getting Joseph Trejos in the saddle. He's been winning a couple of races since losing his bug. I thought this was the logical one in there.
And Grace's Drama, who I like, and you gave a pretty salty look to. She was good 2 back. Was it a case of maybe running against Decente, who paid around $5 in that September 5th blowout victory? Was it a case of maybe Grace's Drama just not showing up with her A game?
Well, as you mentioned, that sharp winner at this level and distance 2 starts back, going to try and recreate that performance this afternoon, finishing third. That was against another group of 6250 claimers going a mile. Bobby DeBona, Alberto Burgos handling. Maybe we'll get a rebound performance from her. If she could do what she did 2 starts back, she wins this race. And I threw Paint the Fest in third, who's trying to get out of second gear. She was a place showing behind Grace's Drama. Seems to like to finish second.
Now, Uno Baby Bird has finished second and third and is winless in 7 starts, as this Colt by Macho Uno starts as a sizable favorite in Sunday's third race. We will go back, even though he's likely odds-on here. I still think his last-out effort, given his speed and the fact that he was not able to get away early from the Safi horse with Edgar down inside in curtains up, all this stuff in the end worked against him, mainly, of course, hooking Safi's runner down on the rail eye to eye in that race-long battle. From the outside post today, I just don't see anybody on paper anyway that can match strides with Uno Baby Bird, who, again, lost a tough one last time out in a race that he probably, along with Curtains Up, they probably both deserve to have their picture taken in a way. If he runs back to that, is he just a little better than this field?
Yeah, really, I think so. It looks like it's his race to lose. And another horse that I had in second, you have in third, Machiavello, is a somewhat consistent performer at this level. May have found a spot where he can finally get that remedy that also ran status, 12 starts, no wins, 1 second, 7 thirds. Seems like, likes to finish in third with Fausto Gutierrez. Joe Trejos and shortlist looking to muster out of the maiden ranks. We're making its debut for Terry Pompey. I think a good spot for a first-time starter. Maybe not to beat Uno Baby Bird, but to be somewhere on the list.
Now, again, as we turn the page and move on to Sunday's fourth race, you've got a 4-5 morning line favorite here in the form of the 2 Fast Fraction, who, when this race is just essentially drawn up on paper, this 2 lifetime filly mare claimer on the dirt, she runs back to her last. Good tactical speed, lost a tough one against Itana. Again, much like Uno Baby Bird, I think all that stuff applies here, that she just might just be a little more talented and classier than this field.
But she's got to make amends this afternoon after responding to that drop down with that second place finish as the favorite at this level and distance. I think this might be a slightly easier spot with Lionel Reyes in the saddle. The 4 Vuvuela, I think you pronounce it, stepping up to face winners, shipped down from Tampa and just crushed a field of 10 maidens by 10.5 lengths. She'll certainly be tested for class with Alberto Gilberto Burgos in the saddle.
Now, the fifth move to the main will go 5 furlongs as we cash out this all-dirt early pick 5. 3 and up Filly Mare claimers in this 12-5 to 10-5 claiming race. And I got to tell you, the majority of the horses in the body of the field just weren't doing it for me. At least the horses I gave a pretty long look to on the turf this afternoon. And although Prospective Diva is not an MTO, she's run pretty well on the dirt, all things considered. Do I love the fact we have not seen her since the tail end of May? Maybe not at 3 for 29, but I'm going into this pretty confident she is finding a great spot off the layup. I like the 11 Prospective Diva. You like a horse I thought might run well on the turf in the 5 Distinctly Blue. I just wasn't sure about her dirt races at this stage of the game.
Well, she's been running, she comes in here, she's dropping to the 12-5 level. Boy, she runs well on both the wet track and on the fast track. She's 9 starts, 3 wins, 2/3 on the fast track. She's 3 for 4 on the money on the wet track. She's always faced tougher on the dirt.
True.
If you look
You're
through
right.
her past performances, looks like she's always knocked heads with tougher. Dixie Princess comes off a solid against Similar on a good track, and Jay's Indian Charm, 8-time winner on the dirt, drops for Maria Bowersock, who's been doing a good job after the press and tire. Third against 16 maidens, 16 claimers going 5 furlongs.
The 6th race, as we really speed into the opening leg of this mandatory closing day pick 6, goes on the dirt at 6.5 furlongs, and we'll close out Act 1 here on the broadcast with the 2 lifetime $16,000 to $14,000 claimer. And you and I, a race where you and I are obviously in the same ballpark and zip code, just boxing up the same four horses. But I do think when it comes down to it, for me anyway, the pecking order began, and I'm hoping it ultimately ends with a win by the number 2, 3 Deep, who I'm a lot more confident. Not that he ran bad last time. I just think less is more with this horse. Going 6.5 for this barn, he looks really well spotted to me for Gilberto Zerpa.
Yeah, going to turn back to the 6.5 after dueling for the lead and finishing second against those 2 lifetime claimers going a mile last time out. You mentioned Gilberto Zerpa, MSCL Jaramillo, topped a little brother of 3 Rules. We've been mentioning his name around here lately.
He's no 3 Rules.
No, he's no 3 Rules, but I meant just to get it out there because he was one of the horses that swept the Florida Star Stakes Series. Trisomia for me, Rohan Crichton and Diamond Envoy, a speed, the rail, and a chance to maybe steal this race.
All right, as we move right into the Rainbow 6, a quick breather here on Gulfstream today, chasing a lot of dough in just a few moments.
And they're off. Second in the 2 path. Round on her inside. Race. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Made is fast and the turf is good on this closing day of the summer meet. Sunday, it is a 12-pack Sunday afternoon here with 12 races in the mix. In fact, the first 8 will be run over the fast main track. Sun is shining. Ronnie and Jason back with you for act number 2 on the broadcast. And again, a carryover in this Rainbow Pick 6 of about 800, 900,000. Easily hitting 7 figures and then some today. And Ronnie, you're in the hot seat up first. I mean, how's the ticket looking?
I got a $97.20 ticket. You're not usually in my wheelhouse, but I'm taking a shot for that multi-million-dollar ticket today.
It is hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so hard here. And I went 3 deep in race number 7. As we mentioned at the top of the show, that's the race in the sequence that's been taken off the turf. I went with Fort King, Hero Tiger, and I'm Cardinal in that race. 8th race, 3 deep in there. Panarea looks real tough to 3, but I use Classy Beast. And Shea Perry, who I think can run well in that spot. Race number 9, Mo of the West, Senseless Drama, Aerodynamic, that one on the turf. 2 deep in race number 10. Had to pare it down a little bit. I went with Yodely Who and Frosted Grace, who might be the horse to beat in there. And in race number 11, I like Lovely Lovely. You looked on it 9-2 on the morning line on that horse. The Great Sister Diane and Bienville Street, who's probably going to end up maybe favored in that race. The last race, I'm going to go with the 3, the 7, and the 5. A couple of diamonds, a more diamond, Grand Diamond, and Dancing with Jimmy B. But your 13 horse, I believe, got into that race. So you got to, when you're handicapping, pay attention to that.
Well, that's the Carlos David trained filly. Yeah, absolutely. She's second off a layoff and one of a number of horses I have closing out my Rainbow Six ticket that clocks in at 86.40. Absolutely. I think that also eligible buried outside from post number 11 now is a must use, and I'm 3-7-13 to cap this thing. Now, I do have quite a bit of wiggle room in the opening leg, which is a very tricky looking off the turf race to start in the 7th, and do keep in mind races 9, 11, and 12 are on the turf, and course condition may come into play. Who's going to handle it? Who maybe won't handle it? We'll see what the future holds in that regard. But 7, 9, 11, 12 for me to start things out. In a race that, for my top selection, I do like the recent dirt form, and let me emphasize dirt form again with the 11, Game Boy Benny, who's just been so consistent, has early speed, but can lay up close and sit. This could be a good spot for him. He's not, however, the only horse that's been able to basically be a two-way player, because even your runner-up potentially, Ronnie, if that 7-9 exacta hits, what's wrong with the 9 Hero Tiger in that recent race against just an older, stalwart war horse, and Why Are You Awesome?
Yeah, this horse is very versatile. He runs, Hero Tiger runs very well on the dirt, on a wet track, and that was a good performance on that sealed sloppy track where he was second, beaten 3 lengths by Why Are You Awesome, the repeat winner in there. And the same with Fort King, who I have at top of my ticket. Stepping up, this one has cruised through its 2 and 3 lifetime conditions in glib fashion, showing that speed. You look 2 starts back, that 8-3 was on the main track.
You want the speed.
I want the speed in here, and Hero Tiger, and then Marcelina, who I think, the 6 horse I think Cardinal can run well, just off his previous record on the main track.
Yeah, he's the elder statesman, the 10-year-old with 18 lifetime wins. An amazing horse. Did not run nearly as well off the claim last time out. Does he maybe take a step forward here in the right direction for Sandra Matei? We'll see. That's the 6 I'm Cardinal running against a former stablemate of his in the 7 Fort King. Late pick 5 on this getaway day begins in earnest with race number 8. It'll go on the dirt at 7 furlongs, and clearly you've got 2 fillies near the upper echelon, at least on paper, as this field plays out in the PPs, who are both returning for new barns. That is the one Classy Beast, who's down on the rail at his first time, Bobby DeBona, and I like the overall form with the 3. Of the two horses, I prefer the 3. Panaria, who's just been good and is off the claim this afternoon for trainer Darian Rodriguez. I know you pulled a high percentage stat for a barn that put up some gaudy numbers over the wintertime at Tampa Bay Downs.
Yeah, first after the claim, sprints on the dirt, he's 6 for 18, 33%, 72% the money, 265 the return of investment. When he first arrived here in South Florida, when Tampa started to close, he didn't do that well, but that barn is picked up, so I'm going to use these stats because I think he's a good trainer, and he's sort of figured out how to win races here at Gulfstream Park. Classy beat for all the reasons you mentioned, moving to the Bobby DeBona barn. I just think the barn is really good with the turf to dirt angle. If you look on this recent PPs, he's 32% with that move. And Shea Perry, your horse, I had a little further down the ticket, the number 6 Lavi.
Who I'm hoping just wakes up here, a dip down in class, and a realistic, I think, dissension, so to speak, with this Daughter of Orb, who, following that maiden win, they aimed pretty high. I mean, it was a maiden win last autumn at GPW, and she paid almost $100 in that race, and she's just kept company while not factoring, mind you, and I guess that's a bit of the caveat with her. You don't know if the drop, the first-time dip in the 25K claiming is enough to wake her up, but this looks, to my eye, like a field she's going to like running against far better than chasing the likes of a Corey Gal or a Dream Marie or a Sound Machine. And I'm going to go to the 6 Lavi. I like the fact that she's just running against an easier, realistic crew this afternoon. Now, we hit the turf course fairly late in the day. It'll take a while, but we're on the grass for race number 9. And I like the fact that races 9 and 11, the 10th, even though it's on the dirt for that matter, I mean, you've got a trio of very high-quality races late in the day, and a race, truth be told, that is likely centering around 3 horses, 2 of which, in fact, are trained by Mark Cassey in the 2 Dynatown and Mo of the West. And we'll show Mo of the West last time out. I had a thing for this Uncle Mo filly, and I still do. Liked her 2 and 3 back in a couple of good-priced wins, and she didn't run all that well last time out, but she had that major trouble early where she got bumped into and lost her action, and that knocked Miguel Vasquez out of the irons. She recovered. I mean, that was only a few strides worth of trouble. It was legitimate big trouble. Never really fired, but that was a race, Ronnie, where they were all kind of just running in place and nobody really gained at all in the Miss Gracie.
Yeah, I just went off the thing. I liked Mo of the West before that, race you just shown. So I'm going to go back with her. I think she was left too much to do in that race. Mark Cassey, as you mentioned, the trainer, Miguel Vasquez in the irons again this afternoon. Let's see if he could stay in those irons. That wasn't his fault for sure. So Mo of the West on top of my ticket. Maybe I didn't respect the 2 horse as much in here. The other one from the barn.
Yeah, that's Dynatown. I don't know. I think she looks very solid. Big figure last time out. Florida bred, who's been a gem of consistency. I think overall, just her talent and her ability is a good fit and good match for not only her stablemate Mo of the West. You've got the speed of Senseless Drama, who's just gone one way, and that's been this way for trainer Carlos David.
Yeah, beaten the neck by Mo of the West a couple of starts back when going a mile into 16. Renews their rival today at a mile. They have to set the pace second against those state-bred optional claimers. Like the speed in here. We're going to be interesting to see how the turf course plays out this afternoon. MCL Jaramillo in the saddle, and Aerodynamic is going to be tested for class. Been really good form stepping up after back-to-back victories at the 12-5 level.
We're on the main for the 10th. We hit double digits on this 12-race card, and we bring on a field, and there's no shortage of early speed here. Looking at the likes of Travie Boy, who's just as honest as the day is long, the 5 running for Riz, and even Yodele Ihu. I like that Yodele Ihu moves off the rail. I don't like where he's drawn in this race, and we'll elaborate a little more because we're going to go back to a pretty popular rematch spot. A number of these horses, in fact, about half the field, dropping out of the 9th race back on September the 4th. And I pulled the replay here. I wanted to emphasize, and this was something I talked about pre-race, that I didn't think the rail would work out well for Yodele Ihu, and he had a tough time of it with Bel Tapiserie alongside, dueling every step of the way. Both Royal Squeeze, who is just an amazing warhorse in his own right, he's rather one-paced as he closes from 5th at this juncture, and you've got the usual good effort out of Frosted Grace, who just plods and grinds, but does have that relentless type of finish where I think when push comes to shove, Frosted Grace may just get the trip and setup that he needs to fire his best from towards the back of the pack.
Yeah, I just thought that he will see a good trip in here. But Yodele Ihu, don't forget, with that horse was the first race back from the layoff, and I thought he ran exceptionally well. He was hounded every step of the way in there. So second off the bench for Safi Joseph Jr., who's got some like 25% average with horses returning from 45, second start off a 45 to 180-day layoff. Frosted Grace still hasn't won this year. She's 7 starts, 4 seconds, 2 thirds. Maybe she gets that trip. And what you mentioned about Royal Squeeze, she's making the 3rd start back from the layoff. Maybe she runs well this afternoon.
No, he's a tough gelding, very tough gelding, and you've got the Frosted Grace, who is winless in 7 starts. That's an absolute valid concern. But again, if he gets a good pace, he's usually right there on the wire, and we'll see. We'll see if I'm right in terms. And I respect Yodele Ihu. I wish he had drawn outside both Travie Boy and running for Riz in this race. I just don't like that he may wind up in the same spot he was in last time out as the inside speed, where he's got intense pressure right off his flank. The 11th race will go on the turf. In fact, the 10th is a fitting finale to the dirt action here for the summer meet at Gulfstream Park. We're on the turf from this point on as we move on to race number 11, and 3 very important horses, and in a way, I think the most impactful horses are coming out of the same race earlier this month in the Monroe, and we're going to go back and look at that field from September the 7th, the race won by Always Shopping. But I'll tell you, the one Beanville Street ran unbelievably well. To the contrary, this may have been a combination of the two, great sister Diane not bringing her best, and I felt as though watching this race with her 3 to 4 wide uncovered trip, she never really had any good position. I'm hoping switching back to Miguel, she's able to just save ground and get a more quote-unquote traditional turf trip this afternoon. But hey, I'll tell you, Ronnie, if Bienville Street runs back to that performance where she lost a heartbreaker in a valiant defeat, I mean, she may, in a way, be the filly to beat, even though she was a very big price in that race we just looked at.
Yeah, I mean, she finished it. You know, she was really good. You know, beating the neck at 8.5 furlongs in a row. Cam Gambalati is the trainer in there. I did go with Lovely, who you have in second. And this one, 6-1 on the morning line, is going to turn back to a mile and return to the allowance optional claiming ranks after tracking the pace. Failed to fire when sixth in the 8.5 furlong, $60,000 day at the Spa last time out. Sappy Joseph Jr., leading rider Edgar Zayas. I just think this horse is going to bounce back. I was looking for a price play in here. Great sister Diane, you just showed Bienville Street. I had to put on my ticket, my Rainbow Six ticket, for the reasons you just shown.
Now, as we close things down in the 12th race finale and the capper to this big seven-figure Rainbow Six, we're on the turf. The only turf sprint on today's card will go at 5 furlongs. It's a 3-and-up filly mare, 2 lifetime claimer. Clearly in the body of the field, the 2 diamond fillies, the number 3 More Diamonds, who's quick and pretty sharp for Fernando Abreu, and the number 7 Grand Diamond, who looks a little bit different, but is second off a layoff. They look pretty solid, but I also think the 13, 2 cents worth, she's going to have to run a lot better than she did, and she's going to need to work out a trip from the far outside. But I'm just hoping in this spot, combination of catching rain soft and turf off that lengthy layoff combined with the wide trip prevented her from showing up with her best. I think she's a lot tighter and just a lot stronger second off the layoff here.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the diamonds in here, both More Diamonds and Grand Diamonds. So I'm that way, and I use Dancing with the Jimmy B to 5. Just returning to the turf, ideal closing style. I thought this one, if there is speed, might sit a perfect trip for Antonio Sano and Alberto Burgos.
All right, sounds good. We are playing for millions this afternoon. A 12-race journey begins at 12:05. Before that, quick stop upstairs. The man, Pete Aiello, is up with those scratches and changes.